Can you see my screen? Okay. Good morning, welcome, and thank you for being here. I'm Elisa Kawe, and I work as Strategy and Innovation Officer at EGI Foundation. Today, I will be the convener of this session dedicated to the artificial intelligence strategy in Europe. I'm glad to present our speakers today, Dr. Sonja Zillner from Siemens and BBVA, who will introduce the new partnership in AI data robotics in Europe. Later on, Dr. Gabriel González Castañé from University College of Cork, who will present the AI EU ecosystems. And last but not least, we will listen to Masters Bill Tenuhen from EGI Foundation, who will explain the EGI strategy towards artificial intelligence. So after each presentation, we will have 5 minutes for questions and answers. So you can raise your hand and use the chat at any moment to leave your comments and questions. At the end of the session, we will have more space for further discussion. I just want to say that this presentation is going to be recorded in case you want to share your comments or questions or appear in the video. And Sonia, so you can share your screen in the meantime, and I will.
Elisa?
Yeah?
I'm not allowed to now? Now, maybe not.
Yeah.
It was because you were still sharing.
Yeah.
Okay. So Elisa, thank you for the kind introduction to the session, and thanks a lot for inviting me, for having me here at the EGI conference. This is a great pleasure to share with you the work we are doing in the context of the new partnership on AI data and robotics in Europe. Elisa asked me to spend like 15 minutes to share with you what we are doing here. And what I did right now is I prepared, used more or less like the general slides we are using to present it. And I would like to, at some places where I think there's the strongest connection to EGI, that I will stay longer, and some of the slides I move faster on, so that we also ensure that you understand how we can collaborate and work together. So my name is Sonja Zillner. I'm working at Siemens in the research department. Sort of focus area is trustworthy AI, but the reason why I'm invited here, I think, is because I'm leading the strategic research and innovation and deployment agenda. So I'm having here the editorial lead from side of Big Data Value Association, and we are one of the 5 partners who are joining forces in order to build up the new partnership on AI data and robotics in Europe. The other partners are EU Robotics, CLARE, Alice, and EUAI. So basically now I'm talking on behalf of those five associations. So let me first start why we did start the whole story. And this is now a perspective I would like to give from my Siemens hat I'm wearing. This is just like an application, an industrial application, which you see on the left side, where drones are used to ensure maintenance and inspection services. I mean, what I would like to share here with you, if you would like to do an AI-driven application in these areas, the integration and seamless alignment of different technologies, HPC, connectivity, IoT, AI perception, edge, cloud, and needs to be integrated. They need to work together and in a end-to-end way in order to ensure trustworthiness, safety, and security, right? So basically, a lot of work needs to be done in order to ensure adoption. So it will be important that the different horizontal technologies work together. Also, it's of important that we think about business, how the technology is used, and how to align the functional aspects each technology component can bring. And for that reason, we thought that our way forward is to join forces, collaborate, ensure collaboration with different stakeholders across Europe that is open, inclusive, and that we have a very focused strategy because we think we can leverage European strengths thus in a better way. And if we are focused, then we have higher impact. So basically, that's why the 5 communities started this journey. And I would like now to give you the background about this. This is a little bit of the history of preparation of the new partnership, just that you see that how the different associations and initiatives have been collaborated. So it was at the very beginning that the European Commission has invited the robotics and BDVA to establish the basis for such a partnership. So basically, due to this, robotics and BDVA have started to compile first visioning document and then first strategic research and innovation agenda. And then based on these publications, we reached out to large amount of horizontal players, but also what you see here, UAI, Claire, Human AI, AI4U, and Alice, in order to ensure that all AI expertise which we have in Europe are on board. And so in the second release of our strategic research and innovation agenda, which we published more than 1 year ago, we could already align and see and had first discussion with this horizontal stakeholders and AI initiatives. And we formalized, we continued then to work deeper with Alice, Claire, and UAI. So after like since 1 year, the 5 organizations are working together first on a partnership proposal. And then we published like 1 month ago our third reader release, which is now also detailing deep dive strategies in the area of AI, in the area of data, and in the area of robotics. And we are planning to have the partnership signature rather soon, like in the upcoming months. So basically, just to give you an understanding how these communities are working together. And they're working together because they see a lot of potential in terms of establishing synergy between the 3 areas, AI, data, and robotics. This is on one side the guiding principle for the partnership. I am sharing this slide because I would like to share you the vision of the partnership. So basically, we want to boost European competitiveness, social well-being, and environmental aspects to lead the world in research, in developing and deploying value-driven, trustworthy AI, data, and robotics. And this should be based on European fundamental rights and principles. So for us, it's very important that we are open, that we are inclusive, that we ensure that any partners and relevant stakeholders are integrated, and that we are focused in terms of boost the European competitiveness and the impact in society and environment. So basically, this is one of our driving guiding principles, what we would like to ensure that we can partner with a lot of other partnerships. And for that reason, I'm very happy that I'm here today. In terms of general objectives, I think on this level, it's still very generic, but still I would like to share with you. I mean, what we want to secure European sovereignty over AI, data, and robotics. So this is more or less like that we ensure Europe has good position and control over these important technologies. We want to establish European leadership in AI, data, and robotics to reach socio-economic impact. So basically, we want to foster technology and innovation. And then last but not least, the objective is to reinforce a strong and global competitive position of Europe. So here we are aiming towards market and society impact, right? So basically on these 3 objectives areas, still very generic. We used them in order to build forward our activities and plans and to think about how we are building it. Just before I dive into the specific objective, I would like to share with you that we are seeing AI, data, and robotics as cross-sectorial. So this is a graphic which indicates you the planned investments in AI, data, and robotics the different sectors are giving. So basically, for the partnership, the focus is really on not on one particular sector, but on cross-sectorial topics, and to ensure that the different sectors can learn from each other. Another information I would like to share with you is about what we aim to overcome, right? So basically, in our analysis, we had many adoption challenges, and probably many of them are very familiar for you as well. So for AI, data and robotics to be deployed in industrial applications or like end customer facing applications, that several things which need to be addressed in this range, from standards, AI policy, from testing environments. I mean, this is probably where you guys come into access to AI data and infrastructure. We also have like the unify, defragment the research landscapes. We need to ensure skills are available. We need to ensure trust, and all this is given to what I mentioned at the very beginning. The technology is complex. We need to ensure people working together. And also we have kind of a complexity of AI in industry and public domain. So basically the people need to understand how they can make value of these technologies. So basically the main message and the main learning out of our analysis of problems and challenges is more or less like that open collaboration is needed. So basically not one single organization can do alone, not one research group can do this alone. So basically we need to bring people together. I'm sharing here with you an objective tree, what we have accomplished. So basically, if you look at our partnership proposal, you can have a more detailed look. So here below, you see the general objectives we are aiming to. So technical sovereignty, technology innovation, and the market position, competitive position. I'm sharing this with you because I think the operational objectives, these are more or less like the concrete activities which we are planning to bring forward in our partnership. And this is something I would like to share with you in further detail to get an understanding how we are planning to do here forward. So basically what these activities, objective activities, just to give you a short overview. We want to, lead and support research. These are activities that enhance the individual technologies areas, but also the combination of the three AI, data, and robotics areas. We want to combine technologies here in the second pillar to support use cases and build integrated systems. So basically combine the technologies of the three areas and ensure that technical advances and alignment of them will be in a line from the European AI strategies. Here, I think this is a very central one for your community. We want to collaborate with other horizontal and vertical communities. So we think that there will be common areas between the partnerships and other initiatives, horizontal ones. And I think that we can encapsulate this also in joint calls, right? So basically that we also ensure that on project levels we can work together. Then it's about promotion of SME, stimulation of investment. This is what we need. Everybody needs to do. They need to support the digital transformation. This is an area where we need to build connection to the vertical markets, skills, social awareness, legal foundation, standards, regulation, and then altogether an effective ecosystem, right? So these are where activities will be put forward from our side and which are very relevant seen for us. What we have brought forward in our proposal and also in our reader, that we consolidated all these different actions in 5 investment areas. At the end of the day, we are asking the European Commission for money, and these are the investment areas we're bringing forward. So the first one is about mobilizing the European AI data and robotics ecosystem. So we need to align, there are different areas what needs to be addressed here. With the research communities, we need to shape strategic challenges, right? And with the horizontal partnerships, here it is very central for us to strengthen synergies between technologies, so that we are aligning roadmaps, we are better understanding vertical partnerships in order to understand better the user needs, and then regional, national, European initiatives is of relevance because we need to federate efforts and investments, right? So here, I think that's where we need to collaborate also with your community, in particular to ensure that technology synergies, we foster synergies between technologies. I mean, skills and acceptance, strong AI pipeline. I do not want to go into deep here. This is something of importance where I see a lot of cooperation opportunities. I mean, we need to ensure that innovation and market enablers are available, and one of these enablers is that we promote experiments and we connect to infrastructure. And I think your community would be a good counterpart in terms of establishing the infrastructure. So I think here we see need for action, and probably here you would see like ways of proposing something for us what we can bring forward. The other ones I'm just mentioning shortly: guiding standards regulation, very central for us. So we need to ensure that these different stakeholders coming together, that we ensure the dialogue, promote sandboxing, communicate with policymakers, and standardization in order to build trust and create a level market to boost adoption of AI. Last but not least, promoting research excellence. I mean, we all need to foster a research in AI, data, and robotics, and we need to align data, the research part, and the business and the industrial part, industry and research here. If you would like to have a more detailed look, you can look at the Sridhar document, which was published. And sorry, I forgot to update. We have one which was published in September 2020. So basically, these are the areas which we are now putting forward. And just to give you an area that we have, like in our Sridhar, we have developed a European AI data and robotics framework where we classifying the different actions we want to put forward. So this is the European fundamental rights. There are actions we need to ensure that adoption is possible, policy and regulation. So basically different activities which are done in this area. And I would like to switch to the one which I think we have the most collaboration, or like where we are closest together. And this is on the one side for ensuring innovation ecosystem enabler. We need to ensure that skills and knowledge is available. We need to ensure that data for AI is available. And now last but not least, experimentation and deployment. And I mean, experimentation is critical for AI data and robotics. And here we know that we need to deploy in complex physical and digital environment, and we need to get access to infrastructure, right? And so basically here many actions are envisioned in order to bring this forward. Last but not least, I would like to share with you the cross-sectorial technology enabler which we are having. So basically on the one side, these are on the area of sensing and measurement. So basically we are doing research to ensure that data can be accessed, assessed, and the signals can be converted. We will do research for knowledge and learning in order to ensure that data is transformed, pre-processed, and stored in a manner that is of high data quality. We are working on decision making. So here we have different means of decision making and reasoning, machine decision making, and all flavors of decision making. So basically here we are at the interaction of the users. We also have a research direction in the physical and human interactions to ensure that the AI, data and robotics technologies, when they come into the interaction, when they have action with other areas, that these are well defined and set up. And last but not least, systems, methodologies, and hardware. Due to the complexity of all these systems, we need to ensure that we have an end-to-end, that all these trustworthy requirements, safety requirements, dependability requirements, and that they are integrated in complex industrial system in a systematic manner that ensures their availability end-to-end, right? So that's more or less like what I wanted to share with you. I'm also sharing here links to documents and press releases. And if you would like to dive deeper into, and if you have like additional question, I think we can now do the Q&A, or you look at our website for further questions.
Thank you, Sonia, for your interesting presentation. Now we like to give space to other participants to propose some questions to Sonia. Is there anyone there who would like to share?
You have Sai, a question from Sai.
Sai, please.
Hi, Sonia. This is Sai from EGI. I think you would know. But yeah, first of all, thanks for joining in the presentation. I think this was quite important information for us as we kind of move into the AI space. So you outlined like a number of opportunities for us. So I guess my question would be is if we could start doing something together, like following the conference, what do you think would be like the kind of the first, easiest, most concrete collaboration action that we could kind of start working on together?
I think actually for the, it's a good question, and currently it's difficult for me to say because we are still in the setting up of the governance structure, and then at the end of the day we will have like task forces and groups which will focusing on cooperation details. We're currently trying to understand how the cooperation will be organized in a well manner. I think currently we have been working like a core team and reaching out, but it's getting so, I mean, we are getting really like momentum so that this have to build up the organization, right? And I think you are also in close connection with the BDVA. So if I could recommend that we do this on a very simple manner, I think there will be a point in time where we really need to have dedicated actions to reach out and to ensure either there will be joint task forces or like people responsible for driving these activities forwards in order to define the different actions. I think that we are will do this in a similar manner for different horizontal partnerships in terms of engaging so that we can build up some blueprints, right? But I have to regret at the moment it's too early for me, but I know whom to talk to, and that will be you. So
Perfect. Thanks.
Always this that we reach out to you.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Sonia.
If there is anything else, I think we can move now to Gabriel. And in the meantime, Gabriel, you are sharing in your screen. I'm going to introduce Gabriel. Gabriel González Castañé is a senior research coordinator at University College of Cork, working in the Insight Center for Data Analytics. He holds a PhD in computer science in the field of modeling and simulation of cloud computing environments and energy models. He has been working in several European projects related to artificial intelligence and cloud computing. And his main interest are in digital ecosystem, technology transfer, education skills, development and upscaling simulation, self-organizing architectures, distributed cloud edge computing, and simulation optimization. So, Gabriel, what you want?
Thanks very much, Elisa. So it's a pleasure for me as well as for Sonia to be here presenting today a bit of the project where we are working since the last couple of years. So I'm going to introduce AI4U. We are leading part in UCC of ecosystem creation and development with Barry O'Sullivan. So he is the main leader. I'm just helping him in a few steps. I would like to introduce today a bit of what is AI4U. So I think that is important first to define what is AI4U somehow. That is an umbrella created by the European Commission to have a repository or to have a set of tools or mechanisms, expertise to be used by the European community to empower, to boost SMEs and low-tech SMEs mainly. And during this presentation, what I will show is a bit of from where it comes, AI4U, and a bit of what we are doing there, what could be the most interesting topics for collaboration with EGI. So if I go to the first slide. Yes. So I'm not going to, I will go quickly through a few slides. I think that is very clear that we are using AI in different verticals, in agriculture, in healthcare, manufacturing. We can see that there are robots, or there are models, or there are advances that we are using widely in Europe, but also across the world. So that's something that is very clear. From the perspective of Europe, when we started the project, one of the things that we did was an analysis on what were the different initiatives and how to create an ecosystem or landscape. And one of the things that is clear is that we have a very rich and wide ecosystem, but this is also playing against us, against Europe somehow, because it's quite fragmented. We have many initiatives, we have different laws, we have different, the ideas are good, but having all of these barriers to say somehow to overcome also leads to a slow adoption. So the main strategy that the European Commission had initially was to try to boost AI. So for that, they focus on three branches. So mainly in citizen engagement, in policy and legislation, and in operational efficiency. So we can see here the example in the image of AI is embedded everywhere. So we can see AI in smartphones, we can see AI in robotics, we can see AI in manufacturing. And we need to decide how to use it, or the Commission had to have a plan in mind. What is clear is that we have very strong pillars. So we have large volumes of data, we have advances in machine learning, in algorithms, we have parallel computing at a low cost. So now is accessible to everyone. That's a very good thing. And for example, in the image, what we can see is the ImageNet image recognition results, that they're identifying people in a street. They are identifying also the status, the objects. And this a few years back, it was impossible. So if we go to 2011, that was with a failure or a percentage of error of close to 30%. Well, now is even better than a human performance. So that's something that is quite impressive. However, what is clear is that it's a work in progress. So we can see here, and this news is for a few days back, that in a football match, the AI-assisted camera was all the time pointing to the guy that was bald, just because it was confused with the ball. So it's a clear example that we have a lot of potential, but this is a work in progress. So we need to put all the strength together. And the idea originally came to play from the three main objectives that were to boost the economy from how to uptake this AI market, how to boost this AI market from the perspective of SMEs, how to prepare the society from a socio-economic point of view for those changes on AI, or for adopt AI, and how to ensure that AI is used for good. So following these three pillars by the Commissioner Ursula von der Leyen, of course, there are many initiatives from the Commission, so we have plenty here, but I will focus mainly on, well, if we go back to 2018 or 2019, I will focus on mainly three. That was the DIH, how the DIH are the mechanism from the Commission to transfer technology to SMEs, the HLEG, the high-level expert group on AI, how they were working to provide a set of trustworthy AI guidelines for Europe, and AI4U as that mechanism or that tool to provide AI to the community. So if we see this in a timeline, more or less AI4U started in 2019 with 81 partners. It's a 20 million project, and it has 21 nations involved. So we have an FSTP of 3 million euros to give to SMEs, to research, to companies for providing AI solutions. And the main idea is to avoid fragmentation in AI in Europe. So to give that tool or that repository on AI that everybody can know and everybody can contribute. We have another set of the red bullet points that we have on the screen. We have a set of more other projects that are building around AI4U, networks of excellence. I will mention something briefly, or more services like it is the ICT 49 that is mainly to build more services on the services that are provided by AI4U. So if we go to the value proposition or the main pillars, if the most important thing is the AI on demand platform. So is this repository for experiments where the people can go, can build their experiments, can access their assets on AI, can consult the experts on AI. But if we go to the second circle, the bubbles that are colored, those are our main value propositions. So they spin around ethics, a research and innovation agenda, tools on AI, research. We have plenty of experts that are working on identifying new gaps and working on different AI solutions, pilots, case studies, open calls, that is the FSTP money, and that's all. And that's mainly to involve or to get as many stakeholders from the community as possible into the platform to make them participants of this initiative, of this project. So I will mainly focus during this call on three main pillars that are mainly I think the most relevant for the people, for the audience of the talk, that are the pilots, open calls, and ethics. So from the perspective of the ethical observatory of the ethics, we have been working during the last couple of years very closely to the high-level expert group. Actually, 3 of the members of the high-level expert group are also partners in these projects. So one of the things that we are having is we were working in the deep dives. That was the process that in the qualitative analysis that we were doing for the commission for the high-level expert group for the trustworthy AI guidelines. We provided some key figures, mainly UMEA University, Sorbonne University, ourselves, University College of Cork, and the Barcelona Supercomputing Center. And we also provided the Altai tool that is hosted in that web, and that you can use to evaluate yourself, to assess yourself in terms of the guidelines. We have also the observatory that is on society and AI, that is mainly providing to the community different I would say vibrant topics on ethics, or interesting topics on ethics, on AI for the community in AI4U within the platform. With respect to the open calls, that this is also interesting to the public, we have 2 types of calls. So we are having, as I mentioned, 3 million euros, and we are giving 13 challenges. We are splitting this in 2 brands. One is a call for challenges, and the other one is a call for solutions. So we want to provide solutions that are of value of the community. All of these, initially, we will have a call for challenges. A challenge is a problem with an industrial, business, or societal impact that can be solved by using AI, and is potentially replicable. For example, in industry, it could be to provide some models to predict if a motor or an engine is going to break in the next upcoming days. So therefore, they can identify this failure, and they can avoid to stop the production. That could be, for example, a challenge. And the solutions would be the AI solutions that could be used there for solving that challenge. In the case of the challenge, it will be, for example, the people that can provide or can propose a challenge could be SMEs, mid-caps, large companies, or AI4U partners, but AI4U partners cannot get funding. So we can provide challenges, but we cannot get funding from there, because it's mainly focused on external sources, on attracting external people. So these challenges are, as I mentioned, are going to be published in, well, I will mention that later. So those are up to 13 challenges. And after that, we will have the call for solutions. That could be researchers, could be institutes, could be anybody that would be able to provide, or SMEs that would be able to provide these solutions. We will have a support program, and the challenges will be open in the next 2 weeks. And after that, we will have in the next year a couple of calls for solutions. So what are we having also in AI4U? So we are having a set of industrial case studies. We see a couple of them actually yesterday in the BDBA event. It was very nice on agriculture and on society. We're having a set of them. Those are case studies for the public art tools that are led by industry, by industrial partners, by leading companies in their sector in Europe. And they are mainly on citizens, robotics, industry, media, Those are planned for this year. And for the next year, we will have on healthcare, agriculture, IoT, and cybersecurity. All of those are led within the working group or the work package that is led by Simulal Research Lab by Arnaud Goldlieb. And they are, to be honest, they are quite interesting. So they are providing very nice results for the community, and they will be depositing in also in AI4U to be accessible to the community. What challenges and opportunities we have, at least from the ecosystem or from a perspective of resource providers. So what we have here is the map. This is a dense map of stakeholders. So we have we split it in three groups. Blue group is the core stakeholders, our stakeholders in a fine grain. The key European initiatives. So we have there a set of European initiatives that we are communicating, or we are trying to find those areas where we can cooperate or where we can be of most value for them. And we have linked European Commission projects that are the European Commission calls that were proposed by the Commission to build on top of AI4U. So these are the ones that we are having in orange. So I will focus mainly on these two blocks, on the Digital Innovation Hubs and the Link European project. So the Link European project, what we are having here is we have 4 networks of excellence that are between 30 to 50 partners that are mainly focused to topics on trustworthy, human-centered, machine learning, or AI solutions for media, and a CSA that will coordinate all of them. And those are going to work towards their own topics, but also to provide expertise and to provide new tools and new research into the platform and new solutions into the platform, into AI4U platform. So that's a good thing. And we have 6 ICT 49. Those are the ones that we identified. They are not resolved yet. So this is the ones that I think personally. So talking to people that are, and I'm going to guess here, that are around energy, planning, Copernicus, Star, I have no idea. I think that is on Arts, but I have no idea. Starway, that is for matchmaking, and Bonsabs, that is for cyber physical systems. And all of those are meant to provide services for AI4U. So different services for the community. From the perspective of the DIH is also an important arm of the Commission. We are very interested in cooperating with them. So in the next call, in the last draft in October, it was said that they are meant to cooperate with AI4U. So we have there a strategy also to work with them. So I'm not going to insist on this. What we can see here, and I'm going to mention opportunities to cooperate with EGI, is that if we go back to 2011, this is the Gartner curve, the hype cycle. So all the technologies that were a trigger or an innovation trigger for the next year, is clear that they are going to so that they happen. So is platform as a service, cloud security, infrastructure as a service. We have also infrastructure as a service here. So they were innovation triggers in 2011. So if we see how these were in the next 2 to 5 years or 5 to 10 years, it's very important to consider that these for ourselves, as a potential option for innovation. If we see the emerging technologies for the next years that were published in 2019, what we can see is that most of them are a combination between cloud computing or computing resource management, like, for example, platform as a service, edge analytics, edge AI, and artificial intelligence. So it's very important to take that as a challenge and to find the mechanisms of combine artificial intelligence with resource management. If we see from the perspective of AI4U, specifically if we go to AI4U, one of the things that we are seeing is that, for example, we can provide tools and mechanisms to the community, expertise, and this is an example. If we have in an end user, it could be an SME, they can provide a set of constraints on what is their business, their market or the segment where they want to work, healthcare or whatever, and a budget. So those, we can see those as constraints, and we can help them to find the right expertise, the right algorithms, the optimization algorithms for even hardware selection, and we can provide the different options. But there is one thing that we are missing right now, or where we see a lot of potential, that is we don't have a clear resource fabric pool. And I think that in the same way as for you, most of the initiatives on that are providing these application markets or these market stores, they don't provide an appropriate resource fabric pool where they can execute all of these solutions. So I think that it's very important to keep that in mind and to find the right set of resources in Europe that we can use to execute all of those applications. So that's something where I see a lot of potential to be cooperating as well. So, and this is it. So I think that I'm a bit over time. Apologies for that. Thank you. So if you have any question or.
Thank you, Gabriel. Let's
Welcome.
see if someone has something to ask to Gabriel. If not, I would like to ask you, in your experience of the AI for EU, that you have been working with partners from public and private infrastructures providers, what are the limitations that they found?
Well, I think that the main limitation that they found is more than limitation is that the first thought is to execute everything in Amazon or Azure. So that's one of the things that is the first tentative. So they don't have or they want to execute everything in their own private solution. So I think that one of the most important things is to reach the other communities somehow, to make them aware that there are more solutions and to unify those solutions under the same umbrella, to communicate to them what are the options that are available for them. So that's one of them. The other part is I guess the lack of information that they have from the perspective of security. There is a lot of fear of where the things are going to be executed. So they don't know really where, but that's the lack of knowledge, I guess. So I think that is the lack of communication of information that they have somehow. That's one of the big problems that I find.
Okay. Anyone else? No? Then I would suggest
Thank you.
to move to, thank you, Gabriel. Then I suggest to move to the presentation of Ville, and if we have further questions, we can solve them at the end of the session. Let me present Ville. Ville Tenhunen is a data solution architect at the EGI Foundation. He is a former co-chair of the Research Data Architectures in Research Institution Interest Group of the Research Data Alliance, and he's also a member of the Architecture Working Group of the European Open Science Cloud. Ville holds a master's in physics from the University of Joensuu in Finland. His working interests are focused on data management, open science, and artificial intelligence. Ville, when you want.
Yes, thank you, Elisa. Nice to be here. And at first, I will use Mentivoting in my presentation, and I share the links already to the chat. That's the way it goes. And then I share my slides. And here it goes. And here it's so. Are the slides okay? So my presentation is about digital transformation in research and then EGI strategies towards artificial intelligence. And well, there is two parts in this presentation. And well, I start a little bit forward. In the history of science, we have had some paradigms, and science started from the empirical sciences and digging those empirical evidences, and then there was a scientific theoretical science and theoretical perspectives to the same things, and then came computational science, and the last but not least is the, as it said, it's a data-intensive science. And as Jim Gray has said earlier, that it's a it's so different than computational science that there is a whole paradigm changing, and he called that data science, but then it has been formulated like data intensive science in such books and so on. There is a differences between computational science and data science, and we will see them a little bit later in this presentation also. But base idea is that what Jim Gray has said and some others within last 10 years, that the data is a game changer and the science is really changing via these tools and things, and via data and artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, and these things. Has it happened so? Oh yes, here is two anecdotes actually. One is this kind of graphs that what has happened with machine learning and artificial intelligence papers in Arxiv, which is this kind of a paper repository where is a number of open scientific papers. And as we can see, the number of the machine learning, artificial intelligence papers in science has increased exponentially last 10 years. Another anecdote is coming from this year. There is this Neural Information Processing System conference in December. They have received 12,000 abstract submissions for the 1 week conference. And well, there is more than 9,000 full paper submissions, and the acceptance rate has been about 20%. Okay, I'm not a professional scientific organizer of the scientific conferences, but these numbers looks to me very high. And it means that, okay, this artificial intelligence, machine learning, and these things, they are really hot topic in the science, in number of areas of the science right now. So what are the in these things? And well, perhaps you have seen these kind of graphs. And well, data science is the core, and there is a basic tools and things what we can do with machine learning and an artificial intelligence. And then the artificial intelligence is a bigger thing, where is the robotics and language synthesis and sensors and planning and number of this kind of concrete things. Actually, artificial intelligence is not a very new innovation. It starts from the 50s, but then it was pretty much different because there was not so much data than there is nowadays. And the main change is that artificial intelligence came with machine learning, where machines can learn by taking in data and analyzing it, taking actions, and then learning from the results of the data of that action. And well, there is something which makes this revolution and difference between computational science. Of course, there is a critics, and we can discuss about that, and sometimes it's very fruitful to discuss about that is there any serious differences. Okay, but what is the EGI response for all that? EGI Federation strategy, which is a little bit different than EGI Foundation, but this EGI Federation strategy is more important. Our vision includes that Federation believes that all researchers should have seamless access to services, resources, and expertise to collaborate and conduct world-class research innovation. And main point is that, okay, there is researchers who need services, and we try to offer these things. And the mission is the Federation is to deliver open solutions for advanced computing and data analytics in research and innovation. It's not only this kind of hardware and so on, but it's advanced solutions for data analytics and in research. Strategy in glance, I'm not going to go this through very deeply, but here is something what is worth mentioning in the strategic goals. There is it's evolving the services and to meet the need of researchers. This is very important thing that we do for the researchers, these things. Improving skills of users, operators, and maturity in service providers, and this makes those service providing better on the better level. Target groups are researchers, communities, research infrastructure, small international groups, and individual researchers. So it's a pretty large target groups in the Europe nowadays. And then our offering includes technical services, consultancy and support, training, knowledge sharing, policy advocacy, and then all these things. And how we are extending this offering, and what are things here? Well, in concrete life, we are providing adequate resources to deploy these machine learning and artificial intelligence algorithms and platforms. It means storages, computing, CPUs, GPUs, and so on. We are offering relevant data sets via data hubs and so on. And then this is this kind of as a service concept here. And we operate relevant machine learning, artificial intelligence platforms for researchers, offer wide library of analytics for researchers, different models, algorithms, and so on. We are operating this kind of or thinking about this kind of artificial intelligence, machine learning competence center and training and these kind of things. This is this extending part. Okay, then it's time to vote a little bit. Let's have a couple of minutes for that. And there is this Menti, and you have this link, and or if you go to the main page of the menti.com, there is a place to put these codes. And the idea is the question is that, okay, which direction should EGI go more aggressively, and voting on the prioritization of these actions. And the actions are something what I have already mentioned, that they are offering a wide library of these analytics, providing adequate resources to deploy these algorithms, supporting this development of the machine learning, artificial intelligence-based services for researchers, facilitate the uptake of the services within the federation, meaning collaborating with the different initiatives, developing the expertise with the federation and so on. And then fifth one is to create a team of experts. And sixth one is onboarding industrial small and middle-sized enterprise services within the federation or something else. If there is a number of something else, then we have something to discuss after this presentation. But so please go ahead and vote. Let's use for 1 minute for that, for example. Okay, we have already 8 votes, but there is more possibilities. So go ahead. Okay, so let's use some seconds for this also. Okay, now we have 14 votes. Of course, you can vote after these things, and this kind of the first one, the most 15 most popular at this point is this facilitating the uptake of the machine learning and artificial intelligence service within the federation. Pretty good. Offering, and second one is the offering the wide library of the machine learning and artificial intelligence analytics for researchers, data sets, models, algorithms, and these kind of things. Okay, they comes from the federation and then sharing to the things. And providing, third one is the providing adequate resources to deploy these algorithms and platforms. Pretty good. And the fourth one is create a team of the expert, but there is a gap between these fourth and third answers. And we have a 16, now 17. And winner is changing all the time. But okay, yeah, you can vote, and let's have a look on the end of this presentation and then so on. Okay, I have a couple of slides still to go. EGI Foundation is involved in a number of different projects which are doing something with machine learning or artificial intelligence, and here is some of them, not perhaps all of them. Some of them are pretty new one. They are not up and running all of these, but they are coming, and some of those are our old friends. AI for public policy, it's a platform to provide policy development and management functionalities. Big data for next generation energy, this is a starting one, and it's there is this kind of modular big data service analytics and AI technologies to improving decision making. About this project, there is a presentation in next session today, 11:30, in next AI and machine learning session in this conference. And then Digit Brain is a concept of digital twins. About that, EGIs is coming, and there is also AI functioning, and we are collaborating in data and computer intensive research across the borders, which means integration and in the DBAS training facility in the EGI infrastructure. EOSC for Future is a project which define the EOSC into the next step. And there is also these algorithms and so on. EU Hubs for Data, this is a newly started project, and there we are creating the instrument for the data-driven cross-border experimentation and innovation. There is data catalogs, service catalogs, and these kind of things also. And there is delivering data and other resources. So big data, it's for the social data analytics, and then Stairway, or how to pronounce that, it's artificial intelligence on demand platform. Okay, and then some conclusions that, okay, this AI and artificial intelligence machine learning has become day after day more important thing. There is we can't see yet the end of the increasing of these numbers and so on. This supporting of uptaking of the machine learning research world is natural action for EGI to its strategy. And we are going to plan to extend these services offer accordingly. And we are drafting these things, and we want to involve NGIs and researchers. And we are creating this next year. We are building up this technology coordination board on these issues. And we are already involved in a series of the project and facilitating these things. And okay, what is the situation of the voting? It means that there is 20 answers, and facilitate the update those services within the federation is still number 1. Libraries are number 2. Providing adequate resources are number 3. And the team of experts is number 4 right now. perhaps there is something else also, but let's discuss about that. Okay, I think that was my last slide. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Ville. Thank you for this inspiring presentation. I think we should come back to the Mentimeter because we have some questions in the chat. Specifically, Luciano Gaido asked that facilitate the update, the first answer. He said that it's a very general statement. Which actions can we imagine to achieve this goal?
This first one, facilitate the uptake of the machine learning within the federation. Of course, this is what they will be when we are extending this service providing. This is a discussion with the federation and discussion with the researchers and those needs, which is based on our strategy that we listen to researchers and try to find those answers from the federation. And of course, it means that, okay, if federation there is very new and very innovative solutions, then we are willing to discuss about these things and how to update them within the federation. And that's the way to go. Did I answer your very good question?
We have another question for Germán Molto, and he's asking for the Stairway project, a link for the Stairway project. In this sense, Germán, I can tell you that this project is not already signed yet. So this is in the process of signature of the grant agreement, and we expect that it will start on early next year. So as soon as we will get more information from the project, we will get to know our community, because we expect also the opportunity to the EGI community to participate in some way in the project.
May I make a comment about that, maybe? Because it's it's an ICT 49, so it's supposed to, well, the ICT 49 are for building services on top of AI for you. So the Starway project is a project that is, the coordinator is Michela Milano, the University of Bologna, and we are involved as well, UCC and EGI, and it's meant to create a service for matchmaking of users. So users, to facilitate the end user SMEs and low-tech SMEs to find the appropriate resources on AI, and from the perspective of papers, research, skills, courses, and also that's from an horizontal perspective of AI, but also from a vertical perspective of AI to say somehow, to find the appropriate set of resources. So to find the appropriate set of cloud or the appropriate physical resources where to deploy these assets. So that's in a nutshell the project. But again, we cannot say much more until the grant agreement is signed and all the legal procedure moves ahead. So as soon as that will be signed, we will create the web space, and of course, I hope that the EGI community and all the people that is also working with them will follow the project and will help, of course.
Okay, we have also some comments from Sergio. Sergio has a direct question for Gabriel and for the audience. Do you think that the EGI infrastructure should provide Accomus as a service?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. I think that it would be considering, and I'm not in. So I'm getting involved in the development because my original background was distributed systems. So I like that part. But for what I'm seeing in A4U, how the development, the experiments part or the experiment service, that is going to be one of the services, or the one that we are having right now in A4U, how it's going to be moving is going to, everything is moved through Acumos. So I think that it would be, but this is my bet. This is my bet, as Gabriel. It would be a good option to have something similar, to provide an Acumos as a service, or to have as more compatible as possible with Acumos. That would give a very good interoperability with the assets that we're having under repository of AI assets. So yes, I would say that it would be a good option to explore.
Yeah, I would say from the architectural perspective that I have looked this Acumos in general, not in deep, and it looks very interesting. And I think that we have to a little bit discuss that. Is it possible to provide via EGI infrastructures and federations and so on? It looks very good to me, so I like that.
For what I saw is kind of an overlayer of any kind of containerization system. For what I saw, so it's like a meta level on top of that. So I would explore that option because it doesn't seem to be a difficult part. And also I have a question for you, Ville, now seeing your presentation, if may I. That is, you are doing a lot of things towards AI that I think that's fantastic. Are you planning to have any kind of interface to interoperate with other platforms in such a way that we can, for example, from AI4U, we can automatize the process and redirect the community if you are having some interesting either courses for upskilling the people or assets or applications or tools, we can redirect the community towards EGI. That would be quite useful. Do you have something like that?
Currently we do not have, but there is this technical coordination board which I mentioned in the last slide, and it's starting next year to define these kind of things. And I think that this is something what we should do when we are extending these services and so on. But currently I think that it's in the future, and I think that we should consider these things also, because it's just something what we can see in the future, that what's happening, that there is this kind of federated layers and not so much anymore handicrafts and industrialized services that you have only tools and they are separated, but now in the future they are integrated in the federation, and these kind of layers are making these kind of federations true. And so therefore they are very important things.
Yeah.
There was a question earlier on from Alvaro. Would you like to put it? You can unmute yourself, Alvaro, I think now.
No, actually, my question or my comment was in the direction that has been discussed right now. It's regarding the which platforms or software layers, middleware, call it as you want, were considered both for the AI4EU platform and for the EGI strategy. Because, and well, this is shameless self-promotion. As you may know, I have been coordinating the Deep Hybrid Data Cloud, which actually covers several of the aspects that were prioritized in this voting. And that somehow overlaps a little bit with what Acumos has been doing, but obviously with direct integration with the EGI federated cloud resources, because we have been exploiting these resources in this regard. So I just wanted to know which were the options, if some options were considered or not. I see that Acumos is the clear bet for the AI4EU project or initiative, but I would like to know which are the platforms being considered by EGI in this regard.
Yeah, yes. Thank you, Alvaro, about these very good questions. Currently, we are doing landscaping of these services and solutions, and Deep Hybrid Data Cloud is also in the list, and we are doing that one. And then there will be this technical coordination board which will discuss about these things. So this is because we are a federation and community, it means that okay, we are making these things and also based on the different opinions and so on. But this is a very important reference also. Yes, thank you.
May I just also, I would like to make a comment to Alvaro. In AI4U project, we started, so AI4U is going to provide a set of services to the community. One of them is this experiment and virtual lab. That is, we had to start with a few in AI4U, and one of them is mainly driven by this kind of Acumos experiment part. But it doesn't mean that it has to be the only one. So if you're working in a project and you are building a different initiative, that could be that, or you are building a different service, that could be also included as a parallel service for doing. If there are some parallels, we can see how to try to merge it. If it's something partially different, we can see how we could include this as a different service. So it's not the only single service that we are going to provide.
Yes, thank you, Gabriel. We actually were exploring to submit something to the ICT 49 call in this regard. In the end, we couldn't because we didn't have enough time to get integrated. But yes, if I understood this correctly, at that time when the proposal was over the table, was that Acumos was one of the systems or the services. But that there were opportunities to add other services. As Gergerli says, what we have deployed, one of the differences, I mean, they are quite similar in the concept. I mean, we have a platform for training, sharing, and deploying as services machine learning applications or machine learning models. But our added value is the direct integration with the EU infrastructures. We have direct integration with EGI, Federated Cloud. We are integrated in the EOS portal, authentication system, accounting, and so on and so forth. So I think that this is not a competitor to Acumos, but rather a complementary thing. And I see one potential synergies or parallel actions in order to make compatible both the assets that are published in both Acumos marketplace or the TIP marketplace. This is quite, I think, should be quite straightforward to perform. Yes,
Then
thank you, Gabriel.
Feel free to send me an email, please. That's
yes,
something
no,
that we are looking
I'm
for.
actually writing it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to all of you. I think it's time to finalize this session about AI strategy in Europe. If you have further questions, for example, like Alvaro or any other people, for the speakers, you have already their contacts, so feel free to write them. And thank you very much, Sonia, Gabriel, and Ville, for sharing with us this morning. And I would like you to invite to our next session on artificial intelligence and machine learning experiences that will take place on the Zoom #1. And thank you all and have a nice morning. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.